Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episodes 837 to 840. So, yeah, we are continuing on with One Piece, and last time, I got very hyped. Because we got to see, for the first time in the series, we actually got to see Elbaf. We had heard about it plenty of times. We've seen multiple characters in the series who are giants, who all, by the way, had cameos, or at least mentions, uh, in these flashbacks. Um, and it's like, for the first time, though, we get to actually see it. Because as we find out through these flashbacks, um, Big Mom, Charlotte Linlin, was abandoned on the shores of Elbaf by her parents. And from what it seems, they were forced to do it because she's apparently been just too much to handle because of her abnormal size and her uncontrollable nature. Let's put it that way. Um, so her parents were forced to abandon her. I guess presumably by the government of whatever island they live on. They seemed upset about it at least, so it definitely wasn't something they wanted to do, but they did do it. They did comply. Um, and I'm almost a little surprised that they didn't just choose to stay as well. That they actually chose to just leave her behind. So that's interesting. um, I guess maybe it shows that they valued their home, and maybe if they had any kind of status, maybe they valued that more than they valued their own daughter. I don't want to assume things because again, it did look like they were upset by it, but it's just like, why wouldn't they just go somewhere else with her? I don't know. Anyways, she's abandoned on the shores, but eventually, after a long time of waiting, she eventually goes further inland and meets Mother Carmel. Mother Carmel is a nun, a former nun, who has taken up to uh, basically running an orphanage for children of all races, all statuses, just anyone who have been just abandoned or neglected or anything like that. She wants to help, and she seems like just this amazing woman. Like seriously, the entire time we see her in these flashbacks, she's just amazing. She's just so wonderful, so nice, so helpful and kind. And she takes Charlotte Linlin in without question. Um, Linlin proves to be a bit much to handle, um, but they give it their best, and she starts exhibiting this behavior that's a little bit much. um, like she's trying to help, like with the bear and the wolf, or by tearing off like the weird appendages and stuff as she sees them of these other kids, like the Fishman kids, Finns and stuff. And she's legitimately trying to help, but she's just terrible at it, and she doesn't understand that they just have different types of bodies than she does. Um, and so eventually the kids start to grow a little bit of a distrust towards her, but some of the kids at least are still friendly, and including one giant kid. I can't remember her name right now, but she's adorable. But she stays friendly towards Linlin. Anyways, she finds out soon that there is a fasting that goes on the island of Elbaf. Um, I don't remember exactly how long it was, but they fast for a certain period of time, which is actually very common in a lot of cultures around the world, and even a lot of like religions. Like there's a lot of people in different religions, including Christianity and stuff, who have, I guess you could call it ritual fasts. They fast for a certain amount of time as a way to like proclaim their faith and whatnot. Um, so Lin is a little upset by this because she loves to eat. She loves food and especially sweets. But then she finds out that prior to the fast, they gorge themselves on this really sweet pastry, which makes sense. It's like if you're going to fast, yeah, you're going to want to have a big meal beforehand and a big meal right after. So they gorge on the pastries. Lin really loves them. And then the fast begins, and she's having trouble. She's trying. She honestly does try. You have to give her that. She does try, but eventually she loses control and ends up going into this rage state, which we've seen her go into before in the current day, that Jinbei had to snap her out of. Um, she goes into this rage state, though, and ends up attacking the Giants of Elbaf. She ends up burning their houses, attacking them, and I think, but I'm not 100% confident, but I think that it was said that, like, um, someone might have died or something, um, or at least was injured or something. It was made to look very intense and scary, a really horrible situation where even the leaders of Elbaf had to fight back against her and had to basically make the tough decision to stop her by any means necessary. And you see Mother Carmel running out, and she's trying to stop them. She's like, no, she's just a girl. She doesn't know any better, basically that kind of stuff. And you could tell that the leaders don't want to do this, but they feel they need to protect Elbaf. Um, and it kind of ended off on that cliffhanger. We didn't really get to see what happened at that point. Um, but going forward, we do know a couple things. We know that apparently Mother Carmel disappeared at some points. We don't know all the details behind it, but yeah, at least that's what Big Mom says in the current day, that she disappeared. No other info about it, but yeah. And we know that in the current day, Big Mom hates the Giants. It's the one race that she's not on good terms with and doesn't accept in her society. And this is kind of leading us to understand why. I think she probably blames the Giants for the way they acted toward her in this situation, in this during that time, because she knows that, like, she couldn't control what she was doing there, and sees them as, like, having turned on her. And we know, like, further down the line, she did try to make amends and try to end up working with them, but that just fell through and everything. She did give them another chance, which you have to give Big Mom credit for, as messed up as she has proven to be. Like, this backstory is actually really good. Um, Ichiro Oda, he did a phenomenal job at crafting Big Mom's character and backstory to make her sympathetic. Now that doesn't excuse what she's done and what she might do in going forward. Not by any means. She's still performed some horrible actions. She's still done horrible things to less than to non-deserving victims. Let's put it that way. And I mean, to some deserving victims too, mind you. And she's just she's fucked up. But at the same time, it's like she had a very terrible childhood. Let's be honest. And you do feel a little sorry for her, for how things happened, especially with the fact that she cannot control her rages. Um, so yeah, we'll just have to kind of see how that goes in the future. Um, but yeah, she's still a villain. She's still, like, bad, and we still want her to. We still want to see her defeated. It's just like you do feel a little sorry for her. But I'm really wondering where this is going to go. Like, what are we going to see what happens to Mother Carmel? Like my theory was that maybe she died and maybe Big Mom had kind of like purged that from her mind and just made herself believe that she had just disappeared instead as a coping mechanism, basically. That was my big theory. We'll have to see though. Um, but yeah, just the fact that we see Elbath and we get to see all these like big name giants that we'd met throughout the journey and everything so far. It was so fucking hype. Because again, Elbath has been built up since Little Garden, and that was so fucking long ago. That's pre Alabasta, like just before Alabasta. And it's like you had Dorian Broggy there, and then you had the Giants at Eni's Lobby. You had Hyrudin from the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, who we first met in Dressrosa. Um, and it's like just everything's connecting, and it's wonderful. We get to see like younger versions of these giants and stuff, and we find out Prince Loki, the prince of Elbath, he was actually born around the same time that Linlin had arrived um, on the island. So that's very interesting in and of itself. Um, he's going to be a big character when we actually get to Elbath. He's been built up a little bit too, not as much as just Elbath in general, but he has been talked about, and he's definitely going to be a big character. I guess pun intended. um, so I can't wait to actually get to meet him too. Um, but yeah, it's like it's just hyping me up so much for when the crew goes there because it's like it's going to be such a huge deal. I mean, for Usopp especially, because Usopp like idolizes the Giants, and it's part of his dream to go to Elbaf. So it's like, yeah, I really am excited to see that. And I've heard multiple theories on Elbaf from fans. I know there's one theory around that's like saying that Elbaf is going to be Shank's arc, which I I don't know the details behind that theory. I don't know why people think that, but it's like I've heard that that's a theory. um, I don't fully understand why, because again, I don't know the details of the theory, but um, I wouldn't mind that necessarily. um, I don't know. We'll have to see because I feel like Shank's arc should have like the main focus be on Luffy, but I feel the Elbaf arc should have the main focus be on Usopp. You know what I mean? And they can maybe do both because Usopp obviously would have connections to Shanks too, with his father being in Shanks' crew. But I don't know. Either way, I'm very excited to see more Elbaf. Hopefully, in these episodes, I don't know how much more of this flashback we'll get. But then we do have to go forward into the present day again, where Big Mom is well, actually not even about to. She's losing her mind over Mother Carmel's picture being broken, and yeah, we basically just have to go from there and hope for the best as we continue the attack against Big Mom, even though we know things aren't going to go quite as well as we would hope. They just haven't been already, so um, let's just get this started and hope that these. Ooh, excuse me. Knew that was coming. Let's get these started and hope that these 4 episodes are as good as this series has been, especially lately. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I turned on the lights because it was getting dark in here and everything. Um, so it's not outright confirmed, but from everything we can tell, all the context clues behind it, and the fact that Lin Lin acquired her devil fruit power at that point from that situation, the same power that Mother Carmel had, it's not only implied, but I feel like practically practically confirmed, at least it's super obvious, that Lin Lin ate Mother Carmel and the other kids. Because here's the thing. Here is the fact of the matter. When a devil fruit user dies, their devil fruit returns into circulation. A normal fruit will then just become a devil fruit. So when we see Lin Lin just have the power all of a sudden, we know that something is up with that. Because she didn't eat any fruit recently. The only things we saw her eat were the croquembouche made from the semla and the stuff that the chef guy was making for her. I can't remember his name right now. But none of that, okay, there were some fruits in with what he was making her, but it's very unlikely that any of them had just suddenly turned into devil fruits that quickly and everything. Plus, that would not in any way explain anything about what happened with Mother Carmel and the kids. Because from Lin Lin's perspective, they just disappeared, but there were two people who saw it. The chef himself, who found it kind of entertaining and funny because he's obviously fucked up, and a giant who was checking in on things. And the giant was terrified of it and referred to Lin Lin as a monster based on what he saw. And we're told that after the fact, the giants came to hate her even more. And at that point, like, just she was made full enemy of the giants, like completely. That information practically confirms that she ate them, even if it doesn't directly state it. I don't know if it will in the future or not, but yeah, it's just like it's super obvious. She was so obsessed with the semla croquembouche, so happy, so excited. She was just kind of eating without thinking, and most of the time you could see her eyes were closed. She was just like scooping in. She probably accidentally was grabbing the others faster than they could even react to it, and she ate them. And this would imply also that this is a way to obtain someone's devil fruit power, technically. That through this act of horrifying cannibalism, you could technically gain someone's devil fruit power. And that kind of brings up a question is of Blackbeard gaining Whitebeard's devil fruit power. But I really don't think he did anything like that. I wouldn't necessarily say he wouldn't do something like that in general. I'm just saying I don't think he did because didn't we see Whitebeard's body after they stole the power, or maybe not? I know they covered him in the black cloth, but I think that was taken off after they. And either way, it's like I don't know how it would even work. Do they have to be completely devoured? Or can any part of their body work? Or I don't know. But it brings up some interesting questions, considering we have seen already someone else gain a devil fruit power from someone. The fact that we have seen Blackbeard gain Whitebeard's devil fruit power through unknown means, and now we see Lin Lin gain Mother Carmel's devil fruit power through eating her. It's like, yeah, it's just it adds an interesting new like layer of information regarding all this, and raises a lot of questions, obviously, because yeah, no matter what, like unless there is some other way to gain devil fruit powers from people, like that doesn't explain anything about what happened to Mother Carmel and the other kids. Why would they suddenly disappear otherwise, and why would Linlin be seen as a monster after that fact if it wasn't that she ate them? There's no other way that would explain that, really. There's nothing else that would, like, I don't know. It's really the only way I could see that having gone, because, again, there's no other way to explain that, no other way to reconcile what happened there, and no other way that we know of that she would even have been able to gain the powers. So it's like we have to kind of assume that at this point. Um, Either way, we also found out that Mother Carmel was not as good of a person as we kind of thought. Everything had been showing her as this just amazing standout person, but to be fair, all we really saw of her was when she was around other people who she would put on that air for. Um, we never really saw her just on her own and everything. So when we see her go and meet with the Cipher Pole agents, um, at least I assume that was Cipher Pole considering the masks. Um, they we found out her true nature and found out that she's a child trafficker, which is unfortunately a real thing that people really do and is really fucking terrible and just atrociously, horrifyingly disgusting that anyone would do shit like that. So, like, outside of just the shock of that being revealed, it really did upset me because I've talked about it before, but I've always like loved children. I've worked with them. I wanted to be a daycare worker for so long and everything. Not like a daycare owner or anything. I just wanted to work at a daycare to help take care of children and help raise them to be like good people and everything. It's just like they're so vulnerable and you just want to protect them and want to help raise them. And it's like I've always really just wanted to show them this caring, I guess you could say attitude. That's not the word I was trying to think of, but this caring attitude towards life and towards other people that they could then spread to others in the future. And seeing children like even get hurt upsets the shit out of me. It's why I usually don't find things like children falling or like beating each other up or stuff like that. Like I don't find those funny. Like when you see them in like try not to laugh compilations, um, like a child falling on their face or something and just giving this dumb look or something. I don't find that funny. I don't find that kind of stuff entertaining. It bothers me. Um, and of course, in any kind of media or whatnot, seeing a child get like legitimately hurt and even killed really upsets me. Like one of the episodes I watched of Dororo recently, in my most recent Dororo reaction video, it just really upset me and just really bothered the shit out of me. And it's like, obviously, seeing the Giants like prepared to kill Lin Lin for what she had done, it's like I understand their point of view, but it's still upsetting because she was just a 5-year old kid. But also, just the fact that she ate all those other orphans, those poor kids. It's like her friends. Oh, it's so fucked up. and seeing Mother Carmel just being so like okay with selling them to the Marines, trafficking them to the Marines for money and shit. It's like, my fucking God, you are horrible and evil. So yeah, that really not only caught me by surprise, but really just bothered the shit out of me. And on one hand, you're almost kind of glad that she's gone, but on the other, the fact that the other orphans, those innocent kids, are gone too. It's like it's not okay. It's not okay because like she was going to sell them too. And it's like they just didn't even have a chance at living full, happy lives. But moving on, because I don't want to think about that anymore. In the current day, Big Mom finally snaps out of her crying fit and turns to rage instead, finding out that Beiji and Luffy and them had all betrayed her and that she's been tricked and everything. She goes on the attack. Beiji turns into his giant father form or whatever it was called, and she's attacking it. And if it's destroyed, he dies. So they formulate this plan. But before that, before even that moment happens, they're still trying to kill Big Mom, and we get to see the magical girl slash Power Rangers transformation sequence for Germa 66. And it's fabulous. Now, I talked about in the reaction how I knew about this beforehand. Part of that is because of the openings. Like, I've seen all of the openings. Um, but also, I had heard about this before. I had heard about the fact that they do have these transformations and that they're in these little like canister things. So like in the previous reaction set when we first saw the canisters being given to them, it's like, and I pointed out like I know what those are. It's like, yeah, I knew what they are and what they did. I've never seen the transformation sequence, mind you. I've never like seen like all of their transformed outfits. The only one I've seen before, obviously, is Poison Pink. I didn't know their names or anything, but yeah, um, I did know about it at least. It was funny as hell, and the fact that the mid card was instead of like having the normal posters and all, was replaced by them having this like Gurren Lagann style like mid card cut. That was fantastic. That was just wonderful. Um, but yeah, they end up fighting back and freeing those who had been captured. But they're chased into the Big Father, and by the end of these episodes, they have to escape. So the plan is that most of everyone, is going to stay inside uh, Beji's body, his devil fruit ability and everything, while he turns back to his human form. Caesar's going to go out and fly him away, while Jeremy 66 fights off the Big Mom pirates as a distraction, basically. And the final of these episodes, 840, ends right there, so we don't know where it goes. We don't know how if this works, how well it works. So we'll just have to see on that in the future. Um, but I think we are only like now 40 episodes away from the end of this arc. Because I still think it does end in the 80s here, in the 380s. Or 880s, not 380s, in the 880s here. Um, I think so, at least. Somewhere around there. Um, so yeah, it's like we're coming up definitely on the big climaxes and everything. Obviously, we still have to have a bigger fight with Big Mom. I know Luffy and Katakuri are going to fight. I don't know much else of what's going to happen, what we're going to see, but I'm very excited. This arc has been fantastic. From just the quality creativity, the exciting moments, the great characters introduced, some amazing backstory stuff. Fucking Elbaf, we get to finally see fucking Elbaf for the first time in the series. Um, some big, massive character development for Sanji that was honestly needed. Um, and just so much more. Honestly, in practically every way, this arc was phenomenal. Um, and I can't wait to see like how it ends and how we're going to eventually transition into Wano, which was mentioned here. Like that's obviously where they're trying to go now, which was already the plan anyway, but still. Um, and I know that the Reverie's coming up as well, so definitely looking forward to that. Um, but yeah, it's like this arc has been really fantastic, and a lot of these episodes that we reacted to today and just have been reacting to in general lately are proving that. I mean, just this backstory with Mother Karma alone, giving so much depth to Big Mom was fantastic, and that cannibalism moments is like I did not expect that. I for the life of me did not see that coming, and I almost don't know why because I feel like it almost kind of felt like it would be obvious that that could happen. Especially with the fact that in the current day we already know like Big Mom is definitely that kind of person who like I think she's did she say she eats souls or am I mistaken? I swear I thought she said she eats souls. Um, so it's like I'm not surprised by the fact that she would do that something like that, but it's more like I'm surprised that that actually did happen. That Oda actually put that in there, especially when she was a fucking kid. And mind you, it was all an accident, clearly, but still, like, God, that's horrifying. Um, funny enough, just earlier I was actually reading something about cannibalism because I was reading something about like what the real life story The Hills Have Eyes was based on, and that was based heavily in cannibalism. So yeah, it's just kind of funny that it's like I just happened to watch this on the same day I read that article. But yeah, it's like right now the plan to kill Big Mom is complete failure, just 100% failure. So the only thing they can do is try to escape. That's their only hope at the moment. Like even Chiffon couldn't do anything, though obviously she wasn't going to do anything with everything we've heard so far. The fact that she looks like her twin sister, who Big Mom has a hate boner for. The fact that she's especially married to Beji and everything is not going to help matters at all. So yeah, it's like that was never going to work. Um, so yeah, yeah. This was another great set of episodes. The chef dude, I did not think he was that important to the Big Mom Pirates. That he was actually one of the founders, along with Lin, and really the one who got her into that uh, um, line of work, I guess you could call it, in the first place. Because like she wasn't gonna naturally go in that direction. No, he was the one who actually led her in that direction because of his own desires. He used her abilities and everything. It's just like that is so unexpected. I thought he was just the random chef character who made her cake and shit, and it's like I did not expect something like that to come into play. Also, his devil fruit ability, like maybe it's just the fat ass in me talking, but I would love that ability. I'm sorry. It's like I love food. I will not argue that. The ability to just turn anything like rocks and trees and shit into food, it's like, fuck yes. And presumably he can turn it into any kind of food he wants. Like I assume it's not random, and I assume that it's just like it doesn't even really depend on what it is. Like, yeah, it showed him turning a rock into like sliced meat and stuff, but I presume he could choose like he could make that sliced carrot or whatnot, if he chose to. And so it's like that. Like there's a lot of devil fruits that whether no matter what I think of them just in general in terms of their usage in the show, there's a lot of devil fruits that I would personally just love to have, and that is one of the top for sure. And yeah, like I said, it's probably just the fat ass in me talking, but again, I just love food. Food is awesome. Um, Food is just fantastic. For the most part, obviously there are foods I don't like, but still. Plus it's fun. And hell, you would never go hungry, like no matter what. And hell, do you know the kind of good you could do with that too? Like shit, find people starving on the streets, just bring out a rock, and just give them like this full course meal. Shit, it's like hell yeah. It's not even just the fat ass aspect of it with me, just not even just loving food and everything. You could actually legitimately help people with that. Obviously, this guy is kind of a bastard and wouldn't do that, but I'm just saying you could with that kind of ability. Which like seriously, that kind of ability honestly could end world hunger. All things considered. That could end world hunger. Um so it's like shit. You kind of want to do something like that. Um yeah. It's such a interesting one, but it's like yeah, it's like kind of the instant we saw Mother Carmel use her ability to to give the fire a face and name and everything. It's like my instant thought was like, wait, I didn't even think about that it could have been the same power as Lin Lin, and so my thought was kind of like, wait, okay, so I'm trying to figure out how this works here. She gives it a face and a name. Is that like by doing so does that like give her control over it and but then she turned it into like the little sun guy Prometheus um or no Pandora Prometheus's big mom's and but it looked like big mom's, it looked like Prometheus, and I'm like wait, and I'm still trying to figure out like how it can connect and everything without being the same devil fruit, because for some reason I just was not reconciling in my mind the idea that it was the same devil fruit. I think it's because just the fact that we were told Mother Carmel disappeared. We weren't told she died or anything. We were told she disappeared. So I was expecting something like that, and it's like that wouldn't explain pretty much anything on how Big Mom would have gotten that power too. But then it's like once Lin Lin got the power and everything, like everything connected, and it's like at that moment you like, oh yeah, not only do you know at that moment that she ate her, but you also know at that moment that that was exactly what her power was, that it was the same devil fruit. So it's like, a lot happened in these episodes, a lot that I wasn't prepared for, honestly. Um, Tell me in the comments below what you thought of these episodes of One Piece, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.